I am going to name 15 candy bars, and I promise you will remember exactly how they tasted, even if you have not seen one in decades. The one you kept in the freezer all summer. The one they threw across a baseball stadium by the thousands. The one that ran 100 years and then vanished off the shelf without a word. Let us see how many you still remember. Let us start with the one nobody who grew up in the 70s has ever forgotten. The Marathon bar came out in 1973 as a long braid of caramel wrapped in milk chocolate that stretched a full 8 inches, and it had a ruler printed right on the back to prove it. Here is something most people never knew about that cowboy in the commercials.
Can't eat a Marathon candy bar fast quick, Carl. It lasts a good long time.
I'll show you. Chocolate. And caramel. And chewy.
I told you.
Marathon John was played by Patrick Wayne, the real son of John Wayne. A lot of us kept ours in the freezer and snapped off the pieces one by one until it disappeared from shelves in 1981. There is still a braided caramel bar out there called the Curly Whirly, and folks who miss the marathon track it down just to taste it again. The Milkshake bar was made by the Hollywood Candy Company, and it was built to taste like an actual chocolate malt. Here is the strange part. That fluffy malted nougat was invented first, and Mars copied it to make the Milky Way. But the Milkshake had one thing Milky Way never did. But just like the Marathon, this was another one we loved to throw in the freezer. Kids ate them frozen solid all summer long. Then in the early 80s, a factory fire wiped out the plant that made them, and the bar never came back.
When you consider how big it is,
You know what makes it so big? All those peanuts.
it's not surprising there's so much inside.
It's that big chunk of fudge.
The O. Henry bar came out in 1920. Peanuts and caramel and fudge under milk chocolate, and it was one of the very first bars to ever put that combination together. It was a heavy, chewy, seriously satisfying bar, and for a lot of people it was their absolute favorite on the rack. It held its spot for 100 years straight, but sales slowly slipped, and when Ferrara took over the brand in 2018, they pulled it a year later, right before its 100th birthday. Now, the Clark bar always had a bit of a rivalry going. Ask anyone who grew up on one, and they will swear it was better than Butterfinger. No contest. That crispy peanut butter crunch under milk chocolate came out of Pittsburgh back in 1917, and it was the first big combination candy bar to make it nationwide. Soldiers even carried them through both world wars. But the company got sold, then sold again, ran into bankruptcy, and by 2018, the giant Clark sign that lit up the Pittsburgh sky for decades finally went dark.
A good hug is hard to find, and I hope it's good don't come around all the time. Chunky is a hug, but a good hug is hard to find.
You knew a Chunky the second you saw it. That fat little trapezoid so thick you could barely bite through it. The original was packed with raisins, cashews, and Brazil nuts, and not everybody was a fan. Plenty of kids picked around the raisins and thought they ruined the whole thing. For years, that rich, nutty mix was what made a Chunky a Chunky. Then Nestlé took over and swapped the cashews and Brazil nuts for cheaper peanuts, and the original everybody remembered was gone. Here is the one that stood out for the opposite reason. While every other bar on the rack was brown, the Zero bar was white, covered in a layer of white fudge over almond nougat and caramel. It started out under a stranger name, the Double Zero, with a polar bear on the wrapper and a slogan telling you to eat it cold. Because that white fudge held up in heat better than chocolate, stores actually kept them in the fridge, and a lot of us did the same at home. To this day, some people swear a Zero only tastes right straight out of the cold. Picture one candy bar split into 7 little chocolate pillows, and every single one hiding a different flavor inside. That was the 7-Up bar. And no, it had nothing to do with the soda. Caramel, coconut, mint, butterscotch, and more. 7 flavors in one wrapper, and kids would snap off one section at a time on the walk home, saving their favorite for last. But that name turned out to be a problem. The soda company owned the rights, and in 1979, Pearson's finally gave up the fight, sold off the equipment, and the bar with 7 surprises was gone for good. This one came with a story you could not make up. Back in the 70s, Reggie Jackson bragged that if he ever played in New York, they would name a candy bar after him. So they did. A round disc of peanuts and caramel covered in chocolate, wrapped in bright orange with his face on it.
Now that was a day I'll never forget, and it helped me to get my own candy hit. Reggie, with a rich caramel center, lots of fresh roasted peanuts, and a super chocolatey covering. Reggie, the candy they named after me.
On opening day at Yankee Stadium in 1978, every fan got one free, and when Reggie smacked a home run in his first at-bat, the whole crowd hurled their Reggie bars onto the field. Thousands of them rained down and stopped the game cold. But once Reggie left the Yankees, the bar faded fast. If you loved a Clark bar, odds are you loved a Fifth Avenue just as much. That same crispy peanut butter crunch under chocolate, and folks still argue over which one was better. But the real Fifth Avenue had something the one today does not. It came topped with toasted almonds, and that little bit of nutty crunch was the whole signature. Then Hershey quietly dropped them, and longtime fans noticed right away. The bar is still around, but that almond-topped original a lot of us grew up with is a thing of the past. Here is one that broke every rule. A candy bar with no chocolate on it at all. The Zagnut showed up in 1930. Pure peanut butter crunch rolled in toasted coconut. That was it. No chocolate coating to hide behind. Just that sweet, toasty coconut on the outside that either won you over completely or made you put it right back. It never got the fame of the big chocolate bars, but that strange coconut crunch is a taste a lot of us have not run into in years. Long before anyone dreamed up the energy bar, there was the PowerHouse, and it was built like one. This thing was a monster, a full 4 ounces of fudge, caramel, and peanuts under milk chocolate, way bigger than the bars around it. For kids with only a dime or 15 cents, it was the best deal on the rack, the one that actually filled you up. The name said it all, and the whole pitch was that this bar gave you real staying power.
Can that PowerHouse candy bar really fill you up?
They don't call it PowerHouse for nothing.
Then the health craze of the 80s turned a bar that big into something people apologized for. The Sky Bar pulled the same trick the 7-Up bar did, only smaller. It came from Necco back in 1938. 4 sections in one chocolate bar, each with its own filling: caramel, vanilla, peanut, and fudge. It was actually the first molded chocolate bar in America to pack 4 different centers into one. So you did not have to pick just one flavor. For decades, it was a staple up and down the East Coast, right up until Necco shut its doors. The Caravelle never got the fame of the bars around it, but it had its own quiet following. Peter Paul, the same folks behind Mounds and Almond Joy, made it with crisped rice and soft, chewy caramel under milk chocolate. It was softer and chewier than the crispy bars it went up against. These days, if you pick up a 100-gram bar, you are tasting the closest thing to it. But anyone who remembers the real Caravelle will tell you it is just not the same. The American Mars bar was a different animal from the ones you might picture today. This was soft, malty nougat studded with whole toasted almonds, all wrapped in milk chocolate, sold in that pale, cream-colored wrapper. The almonds were whole, not chopped into little bits, so you got a real crunch in every bite. For folks who loved almonds in their chocolate, this was the one, a little richer and a little more grown up than the peanut bars sitting next to it on the rack. And we saved the strangest one for last. Back in the 1920s, there was a candy bar called the Chicken Dinner. No chicken in it at all, just a chocolate-covered roll of peanuts and fudge. The name was a marketing trick, back when a real chicken dinner meant you were doing all right, and the company even ran delivery trucks shaped like chickens that clucked down the street. It sold for about 40 years before it disappeared, and today most people have never even heard of it. So which one did you grow up with? Tell me down in the comments, and if I left your favorite off the list, let me know. If this brought back some good memories, check out the video on your screen right now and subscribe to Memory Trails so you do not miss the next trip back.